At the start of the season, Girona took La Liga by storm and was fighting it out right at the top of the table. The club have dropped to third in the La Liga table right now, but that didn't stop Sports Interactive from giving several players a massive bump in the winter data update. Players like Artem Dovbyk and Savio have been putting in performances on the pitch and have seen their attributes raised in the latest update. So I wanted to take charge of this up and coming club to see what we could do with them over the course of 5 seasons. So guys, here we are in game with Girona over in La Liga. Now, the reason I had to give you the up-and-coming club line is because of their affiliations. For those of you who did not know, they are part of the City group. Yes, they have a relationship with Manchester City, which is quite nice, actually, given this save. It's quite nice. Man City have got some good players. I don't know if you were aware of them. But yes, they are part of the City group, so certain things are, kind of expected to a level. Obviously, we have relatively decent training facilities and youth facilities, but we are about to move into the City Football Academy in Girona at the end of the first season, much the same with the training facilities as well. So I'm expecting them to get a big bump, which is absolutely fantastic. Stadium looks good. The team is pretty good as well. If we go and take a look at the squad, you can see some of their high potential players. Obviously, some of their players that they do have are on loan. Pablo Torres, Savio, Jean Couto, they are all on loan, but they do have some really good players themselves already. This is one of the guys who did get a bit of a bump in January. This is Artem Dovbyk. He is fantastic, the Ukrainian striker. He is fantastic in this year's game, and obviously now he's had that bump, he is even better. 6'2", physical specimen, great off the ball, great in the air. Needs to work on his dribbling a touch, but everything else on the man is absolutely fantastic. That media description of powerful striker is very accurate. Angel Herrera, obviously former Manchester City man, he is very good in this team as well, looking like a midfielder that we've got. And we also do have former Real Madrid man Miguel Gutierrez in the left back spot. He is pretty nice, actually, very well rounded. 16 crossing is just what we want on our attacking fullbacks. And we do have legends like Daley Blind. Daley Blind is here at 33 years of age after having 100+ caps for the Dutch national team. Now, we need a tactic for this today, and we're going to run GYR's Deadpool, a 4-2-3-1, keeping it relatively straightforward. Siankov as well and Savio on the wings are really nice with Torre in behind. I think this can do some damage right off the rip with Season 1. Obviously, we've seen with them in real life, they are in 3rd place, so hopefully we can kind of keep that up and at the very least achieve a 3rd place result in the competition. So we have 2 comps this season on the schedule, the Copa del Rey and La Liga. The board are expecting a mid-table expectation, but obviously they are punching well above their weight in real life, so the expectation from me is to do the exact same. We are 200-1 to win the title. We're predicted to finish 11th. Ideally, if I can be shooting around the 2 Madrid teams and Barcelona come the end of the season, I will consider that a success. If we can get Champions League football next year, that is even better. We're going to simulate season number 1 and see how we get on. First of all, let's talk about our most embarrassing performance of the season, as we absolutely flopped it in the Copa del Rey. We faced first division opposition in that first round, and before we knew it, we were 2 goals behind, really getting caught cold in the opening 15 minutes. We did manage to pull a goal back through Victor Siankov, but we couldn't get a second to see us crash out of the Spanish Cup. However, things in the league were much better. We started the season brilliantly, going unbeaten for the first month, but in September we lost at home to both Real Madrid and Barcelona, which goes to show the gap between us and those teams right now. Aside from Spanish football's power duo, we actually acquitted ourselves really well this season, winning lots of our games with the occasional thumping of teams like Alaves and Bilbao. It will be no surprise that Artem Dovbyk was our main man in front of goal, scoring 17 goals in all competitions and is now attracting interest from Saudi Arabia. Another player who had a great season was fullback Miguel Gutierrez, who scored 4 goals of his own but also chipped in with 11 assists. More of that from both of them would be fantastic. 2024 started remarkably, winning every single game in January without even conceding a goal. And we followed that up with collecting all 3 points away at Barcelona. We closed out the season with a 9-game winning run, which saw us achieve 2nd place in La Liga with a total of 83 points. But we are still 13 points behind Madrid, and I don't think they will just go away. So there's still plenty of work to be done here. So highs and lows this season, but one thing is that it's a massive plus being part of the City Group, as we now have almost near perfect training facilities, as infrastructure is key to seeing talent progress. Next season we'll be playing in the Champions League, so recruitment needs to be right. We have a transfer budget of £11.5 million, and some of our key players are wanted men, so my main goal is to keep as much of this squad together as humanly possible. So guys, transfer update for season number 2, and we had a massive outgoing. Artem Dovbyk has gone. He's gone to Al Nassr over in Saudi Arabia for a absolutely huge payday for the club, £52 million. Girona only paid 6 for him the season or summer prior. He had one good season with us and he's gone. He's moved on to Saudi Arabia with a £52 million paycheck working its way to us, and we've been able to use that to our effect and get in some really nice players. Now I have to start on this other page because we do have a free transfer from Real Madrid. Lucas Vazquez comes in. It's always good to have that sort of veteran seasoned experience. He's 33 years of age. He's got 9 caps for Spain and he is still pretty well rounded. He does now have 11 pace, which is a little bit more on the slower side, but he is a veteran of the game and I'm happy to have him as part of my squad. On the other end of the coin, we do sign Oscar Pereira. He comes in from Colombia and he's 18. He's got 3 under 20 caps for Colombia. He's very athletic, but does need some game time, which we will be giving him right off the rip, coming in from Atlético Nacional. Now, we've leaned a little bit on some of the Premier League clubs for some loan signings. Maximo Perroni comes in from our parent club, I guess, in Man City. Very well-rounded, can play in that central midfield spot for us. Also, 16 passing is quite nice. We also signed Benoit Badiashile. I know that's not how you say his name, but I can't say it any other way. He comes in from Chelsea on loan for the season. 6'4", absolute physical specimen. Hopefully he can have some good game time. And Asano Dorego has already moved in this game. He's left Schalke, he's gone to Liverpool, and we've signed him on loan for the season from Liverpool. If you've not seen this guy before, get to know him. He's very good. And then we've spent a little bit of our own money, as you kind of would expect. Florian Schock comes in on a free transfer to be our backup goalkeeper. Nothing too severe about him, but the fans hated him as a signing. We did sign Thomas Araujo to come in and play at the back for us from Benfica. He came in for £10 million. He comes in for £10 million to be our new starting centre-back. We've also picked up this guy, Mattia Freegan. He is our Dovbyk replacement, basically. 6'1", not as physical, not as slightly big, but he does have 17 aggression, high determination, and high work rate. I really want him up top pressing and seeing what we can do with him. He's 21 years of age. He's been capped by the Croatian youth setup. But basically what we're going to try and do, guys, is we're going to try and get a couple of these youth players like Girona would do in real life, and with the goal of ultimately selling them on to Manchester City if at all possible. We did sign Dario Asugo, is how I've probably butchered this guy's name. He comes in from Sporting again in Portugal. £3.8 million for his services. Very good, well-rounded defensive midfielder, and considering we are using CMs on defend in this tactic, it's very much needed. And our final signing is this man, Fabian Krivic, as a central attacking midfielder, another young Croatian capped by the under-21s of his national team. 6 foot tall, 16 determination, nice mentals, nice physicals as well. Needs to work on his finishing again, but that's something we can do with time and games. So that is all the transfers, and this is what we're going to do this season. We're going to pin Asan and Pereira into these 2 positions. Now, people ask me all the time how we do this. When we go on holiday and we simulate, we go on holiday, you have 2 options here. One for using the current match tactics, one for using the current team selection when possible. If you are pinning players in, you only need to pin, you can pin up to 1, 2, 10, doesn't really matter. Just make sure both these boxes are ticked, and then when you go on holiday, you will use this lineup, and basically what it will do, it will pick these 2 as long as they're fit and available, and then the assistant manager will pick the rest, basically, is what it will do. But if we do the exact same thing, if we pick without restriction the unpicked positions, this is how we're looking going into the season, and I'm actually quite happy with it. Gazaniga is there. Vazquez comes in as our new right back from Real Madrid, giving us that little bit more maturity. Araujo alongside Badiashile. We've also got Gutierrez rounding off that back 4, so not a huge amount of changes. Still got the keeper there and the left back, but the other 3 have changed. Herrera alongside Alex Garcia in the midfield spots. Zankov is there as well as a mainstay in this team. Asan, Pereira, and Freegan. That's the lineup, and I'm actually quite happy with the balance. Yes, okay, we don't have any superstars, but Alex Garcia and Gutierrez are very good, and as well as Herrera actually are very good players in this team already. And it's good that we've added to our squad because it's going to be a busy one. We've got 4 competitions on the schedule this year. We enter into the Champions League for the first time in this rebuild, and we also have the Super Copa as we finished inside the top 4 last season, where we actually have to travel to Saudi Arabia to play Barcelona. So I'm not overly happy about that. I'm sure the boys wouldn't be overly happy about that, but I think by the end of this rebuild, the Super Cup comes back to Spain. I think going to Saudi is just quite pointless, to be honest. If we have a look at the La Liga table, if we take a look at the season preview, we have improved according to these odds makers, but we are predicted to finish in 9th. We are 50-1 to win the title. Madrid, heavy favourites again to continue to win the title. So let's see what we can do. I'd like to keep in that sort of top 2, top 3 setup, but Barcelona were quite bad last year, so I'm expecting some sort of fight back this season. We had lots more on our schedule this season, and to my surprise, the team acquitted itself superbly. Our La Liga campaign started us winning 6 of our opening 8 games, with 1 draw and their single loss coming at home to Real Madrid. Losses were semi-frequent, but we were definitely winning more games than we were losing. Summer signing Mattia Freigen stepped up into the pressures of playing in Spain like a duck to water, bagging 22 goals in the league this season, which is actually a better return than Dovbyk had last year. Another player who had a standout season for us was a different Ukrainian in Viktor Sankov, who scored an impressive 17 La Liga goals, along with providing 6 assists. The winger is now wanted by Saudi Arabian clubs again, so we could be in for another payday in the summer. We returned to La Liga action after the winter break by losing 4-1 to Villarreal at home before putting together another run of impressive results, but yet again couldn't get close to Real Madrid in the same run. We closed the season with a 7-game unbeaten run this year, but we saw a resurgence from Barcelona under their new and also former manager Luis Enrique, who is back at the club. Their improvement this year saw us finish best of the rest in 3rd place behind Spain's Big 2, but this season the gap to the title was a huge 23 points. Following last season's 4th place finish, we qualified for both the Spanish Super Cup and the Champions League, which we had very contrasting fortunes in. Our Spanish Super Cup journey was over in less time than it would actually take for the team to fly to Riyadh for the fixture. We faced Barcelona in Saudi Arabia, and the Catalan club raced out to a 2-goal lead before half-time. Krivak did score a consolation goal for us with 12 minutes of the game remaining, but it was ultimately a disappointing trip to the Middle East. However, our Champions League debut was a much more pleasant experience. We really attacked the league phase of the competition and won 5 of our 8 fixtures, including a 1-0 win over Manchester United at home. Those results saw us finish 4th in the league phase table and automatically qualify for the round of 16. But sadly for us, the draw gods were not on our side in this one, as we were handed a difficult tie against Tottenham. We travelled to North London for the first leg, but got completely played off the park by Ange's boys and suffered a 2-0 defeat, with both goals coming in the second half. And things didn't get much better for us in the second leg, as we lost 4-0 at home, but look at the time in which Spurs scored their goals. Some of the joys of just simulating seasons on Football Manager, some of the scorelines and some of the goals are just absolutely crazy. And finally, to round off the Season 2 review, we have the Copa del Rey, where we improved on last season's embarrassment but actually made it through to the quarterfinals, where we took on Valencia. Due to last season's league placements, the higher placed team is always away in the Spanish Cup, so we had to travel to the Mestalla, where again it took us going 2 goals behind to show any signs of life. Asano Dorego did score for us in the second half, but we couldn't muster a second one, so saw the opportunity at a cup run come to an end. I'm calling this season a massive step forward despite finishing a lower place in the league. Champions League money is huge for us yet again, and our bank balance continues to grow in the right direction. We've got just over £12 million to spend this summer, so I think it's time to break out the Wonder Kid filter. So I have to start the Season 3 update right here on this page, Paulo Gazzaniga, because I did something stupid. Whilst we were simulating through, I wasn't paying attention to the players whose contracts expired. So he's now gone to Saudi Arabia for free. And I needed to find a new goalkeeper, so we went out and got our business done relatively early, again raiding the Premier League for a decent amount of their talent. First up was Gabriel Solina, who comes in to be our new goalkeeper, the USA international coming in from Chelsea. He's a model citizen in terms of his personality and will develop into a better player with game time this season, which, because we don't actually have a goalkeeper, he will definitely get. 18 jumping reach is very, very nice for him, as well as good determination. As a goalkeeper, he's pretty solid, so I'm looking forward to seeing what he's like this time around. Arno Martinez, I have to talk about him. He comes in on loan from Arsenal. He is a former Girona Girona player. He is back on loan for the season. Hopefully he can have a good time. He's going to play in that right back position. Him and Vazquez are going to fight out and see which one of them can actually lock down that position. But he's 22 years of age, so I'd like to think that he would get the job done. We also used our parent club again to bring in Claudio Echeverri. I've not used him this time since he got his bump in January, but I'm looking forward to seeing what he can do. 18 first touch, 18 flair, 16 dribbling. He's going to be able to unlock defenses, and that is exactly what I'm going to look at him doing, basically. He's going to play in that cam spot. He's capped by Argentina under 23 level. He's only 19, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we can do with him. We picked up Robert Renan. Look at the teeth on that man. He looks stunning, doesn't he? 21 years of age, Brazilian centre-back, was at Zenit St. Petersburg in Russia. We've got him for £8.75 million, and he is ready to basically come in and dominate our centre-back positions. And then finally, we have some transfers out. Gabi Martinez has gone, and Christian Stuani, aged 38, has finally returned to Uruguay to finish his career. So if we go and have a look at the tactic, this is kind of how we're set up this season. Solina comes in, Martinez is alongside Araujo and Robert Renan, and Gutierrez to round off that back four. Herrera and Alex Garcia continue to remain in these positions. Sankov is there, Echeverri is there. We've also got Pereira, who is developing quite nicely with the game time that we are giving him, and then Freigen is the main man up top, having been our top goal scorer last season. He's now fully capped by Croatia, so it seems like we can kind of spot a player and pick in the right ones when we need to. Competitions wise though, we have the exact same four as last season. We do have the Super Cup again over in Saudi. This time we take on Real Madrid. We don't have a good record against Real Madrid. I'm not going to beat around the bush. I'm expecting us to lose that game. We do have the Copa del Rey. We do have the Champions League, and the board wants us to qualify for the Europa League via the league placements. That will be a 5th or 6th place finish again. The expectation is really starting to grow with this team. 33-1 to win the title, and we are absolutely flying. If I go on the club info screen, obviously we now have state-of-the-art training facilities. We now have exceptional youth academy coaching, 19 youth facilities, 17 youth recruitment. I guess being part of the City group has its perks, I guess. Anyway, let's simulate season number 3 to see how we get on. Season 3 was all about progress for me. I wanted to get as far as humanly possible in every single competition that we were part of. Our La Liga campaign got off to a flyer, taking down Barcelona away, who are now back playing at the new camp, but we then sadly followed that up with a loss at home to Vallecano. However, when you look at our fixture list, you can see we are definitely a force to be reckoned with this season in Spain, even if we can't beat Real Madrid for love nor money. This season saw the emergence of one of the original squad members from the start of the save, as Manu Vallejo took the league by storm, netting 18 goals in La Liga and was the club's top goal scorer this campaign. Another star man for us this year was left-back Miguel Gutierrez, who has put in consistent performances every season in this save and provided a club and league high of 16 assists in all competitions, and will definitely be a player that I will be looking to sign in other rebuilds in this game cycle. After the festive break, we came back to league action and meant business, picking up some huge results, even completing a double over Barcelona. We ended the campaign with 9 wins on the spin to see us finish the season back in second in the table with our highest points return of this save so far. And this time, it was the closest that we've ever been to Real Madrid, who finished 12 points ahead of us this time out. In the Spanish Super Cup, we actually managed to get a result against Real Madrid in that semi-final, winning the tie 3-2 with goals from Gutierrez, Vallejo and Valeri, meaning we moved into the final for the first time in the save. But despite taking the lead in the game, we couldn't return from Saudi with the trophy, as Atletico scored a goal in each half to win the game 2-1. And in the Copa del Rey, we went one round further than last season, making it to the semi-finals, only beating lower league opposition en route. The Cup semis in Spain are played over 2 legs, home and away, and we were drawn against Real Madrid, who were gunning for us after that Super Cup fixture. The first leg was at the Bernabeu, and to my surprise, we opened up a quick 2-0 lead inside the first 35 minutes. Then, I'm not sure what Don Carlo said to them at halftime, because in the second half they ripped us to shreds, rattling in 4 goals to take a 2-goal lead into the second leg. And once Madrid took the lead, they didn't really look back. They won the second leg at Montilivi 4-1 with a very clinical performance and goals from Brahim Diaz, Jeremy Frimpong and Rodrigo. And finally, in the Champions League, we had a slow start to the league phase, losing our first 2 fixtures before winning the remaining 6, which included wins against PSG and Liverpool. This season, we finished the league phase in 8th place and booked that automatic spot into the round of 16 for a second time in a row. Here we faced Italian side Napoli, with the first game being in Naples, where Victor Osimhen proved how good a striker he is, scoring a hat-trick in a 3-1 win to give us a tough ask in the second leg. However, back in Spain, we scored inside the first 60 seconds of the game before adding a second through Pereira in the 18th minute to make it all square on aggregate. In the second half, we took the lead in the tie for the first time as Sankov converted from the spot, only to see Raspadori pull the Italian side level. Then, with 10 minutes of the time remaining, we took the lead for a second time with Ilias Shiraya whipping a gorgeous free kick into the back of the net. That saw us move into the quarter-finals, where we face Italian opposition again, this time in the shape of Juventus. We were at home for the first time and scored an early goal again, with Krivik firing home at the near post from a tight angle. But then Dusan Vlahovic entered the chat, scoring 2 goals in 5 first-half minutes to see the old lady take the lead. Then in the second half, Juve added a 3rd goal through Locatelli, which is how the tie finished. So we had to go for it in Turin, and we did win the game 2-1 on the night, but we couldn't overturn that first leg loss to put our European adventure to an end for a second season. Season 3 saw huge strides forward on the pitch, but I have literally 0 money available to me over the summer, apart from £200,000 in my wage budget. So I guess this will be the summer of free transfers and loans. So starting season 4, I moved some of the money around and we have managed to pick up our first wonder kid, or first new gen of this save so far. Welcome Michele Ortolani. He looks good, very good. For an 18-year-old, 17 caps for the Italian under-21s. He comes in from Udinese. Clubs want him on loan. I'm going to play him. I think he's good enough. 16 tackling, 16 technique. He's not as good as I would like in the crossing realms for the fullback position in this game right now, but it's at a 9. It's not too bad. I think by a season, getting him training, getting him playing, I think he could be very good. I think he's solid defensively. He is only 5'3", but I think he can be a very good player for us. He came in from Udinese for £4.7 million. Then we went out and got active in the transfer market. Luis Felipe's contract had come to an end over in Saudi Arabia with Al Ittihad, so we picked him up on a free transfer. The former Lazio man and Real Betis. He's played in the league. He knows what he's doing. He came in on a free transfer, but we are paying him a whopping £140,000 a week for the privilege. We picked up Pablo Barrios on loan from Atletico Madrid for the season, basically just to be a utility man. He can play a couple of key positions for us, and the fact that he's quite young is good. We need those midfielders. He can play in the cam spot. He can play in central midfield. I think he could be good on loan for a season for us. And then we've signed Buonanotte from Brighton on loan for the season. Again, can play on both wings for us, can play in the cam spot, can play in the central midfield area if required. So again, that versatility is going to be quite key for us this year. If we go into the tactics screen, this is what we're going to be doing. Asuga, I'm going to be pinning him in the defensive mid or in the central midfield position, and Ortolani is going to come straight in as our right back. Now, that does mean some people are going to miss out, and if we pick the unactive positions already, this is how we're going to look for the season. Felipe alongside Araujo as the 2 centre-backs, Ortolani and Gutierrez as the 2 full-backs. We've got Herrera in there, Sankov, Krivak, Pereira and Freigen as the strikers. We are ready to rock and roll for season number 4. This team is still very good and very, very young, so I'm hoping we can kind of push on this season. We do have the same 4 cup competition, or same 4 competitions including the cups, and the board want that Europa League qualification again, despite us finishing inside the top 3 for every single season. We've really closed the gap now, 20-1 odds to win the title. Real Madrid are still odds on, but we are then behind Madrid, Barcelona, Atleti and Valencia, so we are getting close to being labelled that like best of the rest, and I really think that is what we are right now. Maybe being able to pick up the odd victory against Madrid, but it's going to be very interesting to see what we can do in this season. Again, I just want progress every single year, and maybe, who knows, maybe we could win a La Liga title at some point. Before we get into the results on the pitch, I do have some additional transfers to tell you guys about, and they are some very, very good ones if I don't say so myself. Whilst the season had got underway, we made 2 extra additions before the window slammed shut. The first of which was the loan signing of former Barcelona man Noah Darvic for the season from Italian side Juventus. We then signed the young Croatian fullback Luka Bozak for just £2.6 million. He didn't make as many appearances he'd have liked this season, so already wants to leave. Personally, I like the fact that he wants to play games and is looking to play for the club, but he does want to leave. But in January, the board gave me a little bit extra money, so I cracked open my Wonder Kid Finder filter and we went shopping. The first edition was Ghanaian international Joseph Mensah, who signed from FC Nordsjælland in Denmark for £8.75 million, and he is already listed as a wonder kid. We followed that up with a young Argentine striker Claudio Vasquez, who arrived from Boca Juniors for just £3.5 million to compete for that starting gig up front. And finally, we added Croatian wide man Jenice Krasnar for £2.5 million, but he's not ready for first team football just yet, so he's gone back on loan to his former club for the remainder of the season. Right, that's all the transfer updates done. Let's get into what we actually achieved on the pitch. After some of the highs of last season, we had some disappointment in all the cups. First, let's talk about the Spanish Cup, where we reverted to poor performances, losing in the 4th round to a 3rd tier side on the road. And then in the Super Cup, which is now back in Spain, we progressed past Barcelona in the semi-finals, with Oscar Pereira dominating the game in a 3-1 win. That set up a final against Real Madrid, and I think you guys know how this one goes. January signing Joseph Mensah gave us the lead in the game with his first goal for the club, but Madrid battled back with a goal from Rodrigo to send the game into extra time. And this is where their squad depth is better than ours, as Santiago Jimenez came off the bench for them and scored the decisive goal to see us runners-up as this competition for a 2nd season in a row. And this season, we could not replicate last year's Champions League quarter-final appearance. We had very mixed form in the league phase, with the worst display we've had since getting into the Champions League in season number 2. Those results saw us scrape into 22nd place with 11 points, meaning we'd have to face a playoff fixture, and the draw put us alongside Arsenal. We had the first fixture at home where we were even level for large periods of the game, but the Gunners scored 3 goals inside the last 20 minutes to win the game 4-2 on the night, with our goalkeeper dropping a 5.9 stinker. However, at the Emirates, we really went for it. January signing Vasquez opened the scoring inside the opening 5 minutes, but saw Martin Odegaard make it 1-1 on the stroke of half-time. Viktor Sankov then restored our lead by beating Aaron Ramsdale at his near post, before Vasquez then scored his second of the night with a nice header at the far post to make it all square on aggregate. And that is how the game remained, meaning we would have to play extra time. But this is where Arsenal reclaimed charge of this game and ultimately scored a sucker punch of a goal, as Gabriel Jesus was able to score from a Bukayo Saka cutback. However, domestically in La Liga, we were very impressive this season. Our campaign started well like in previous seasons, but this year we actually were able to defeat Madrid at home, picking up a nice 2-1 win. That win then sparked an unbeaten month where we won every single game to put ourselves in a great position going into that winter break. This season, Viktor Sankov really stepped up to the plate from a goal-scoring perspective, being the club's top goal scorer, netting 15 in La Liga, all from the wing. Another player who had a great debut season was right-back Michel Ortolani, who provided 13 assists this season in all competitions, and he is now labelled as a wonder kid. After the festive period, we went from strength to strength, securing 1-0 wins against Barcelona and Atletico before completing the league double over Real Madrid with a 2-1 win at the Bernabeu with 2 late goals from Stankov. However, the problem in Spain is that if you lose more than 3 or 4 games, you rarely win the title, and we drop silly games that we shouldn't have to allow Real Madrid to secure yet another La Liga title. We did equal our record points haul in this save and close the gap on Madrid to just 4 points, but this was a real opportunity lost this season. I feel like we're on the cusp of something great with this team. I can really feel it. And this summer we have our largest transfer budget we've ever had, as the board has given me £25 million to bring home a La Liga title. So guys, going into season number 5, it was silly season and we were able to pick up some really good free transfers at the end of their contracts. Now, first and foremost, we picked up this man from Real Madrid, Dani Ceballos, the former Betis man. He came in on a free transfer, and I think he could be very good again. Another veteran, another wily man from Real Madrid, helping us hopefully get over the line. 31 years of age, 11 caps for Spain, 17 passing, good technique, good vision to play in that centre midfield spot. Doesn't need to play every week, but when he does, I think he's going to be that kind of man. And we also welcome this man back. Artem Dovbyk is back for his second spell at the club. Al Nassr did not renew his contract, so we picked him up on a free. He joined the club in Saudi for £52 million 3 seasons ago. He's now ours on a free. He's back. He's now got 16 finishing. Hopefully, this is what we need to get us over the line. We also picked up this man, Calvin Stengs, on a free transfer as well. His contract had come to an end at Feyenoord, so we picked him up on a free transfer. He can play in key positions for us, either in the cam spot or off the right-hand side. Again, another veteran of the game at 28 years of age. I really think these sort of older players really do matter in these experience situations, so that's kind of what we've done here. But we have signed a couple of new gens, because why wouldn't we? Bogdan we've signed here. He comes in from Romania for dirt cheap money as well. £3 million for this guy. Already attribute wise looks fantastic. 17 technique, 16 dribbling, 16 free kick taking, which I think is an underrated attribute. High determination and flair as well. Looks like a very good creative midfielder for us. I see him more as a central attacking midfielder, so that is how we're going to train him this season, because we also signed this guy, Gonzalo Dominguez, to play as one of the more defensive options. Good tackling, good marking, good passing on this guy. High balance as well as natural fitness. He's also 6'5", and I think just having in central midfield these big framed players, it just feels like it works a little bit better for us. And then on this page, we had one more player to pick up, Sindri Elias Albinussen. From Norway. He comes in from Bodo Glimt. He is now wanted on loan, and he will probably spend the season out on loan. But he's a 6'2" centre half, 15 positioning, good balance as well. But I think a loan move will probably do him some good this season. If we go into the tactic though, guys, and quick pick without restriction, our best 11, I think we're ready to cook. I really, really do. Robert Rendon alongside Araujo at the back is really, really solid. Garcia and Herrera continue in central midfield. We've got really good options now. Stengs dropping off to Sankov is like marginal anyway. Pereira is holding down that spot on the left hand side. Dovbyk is now back, but we still have that depth at striker. We've still got really good players that can come in and step in when they need to. I'm really, really happy with the squad that we've put together here, and we do have the same 4 competitions. The board are now wanting a Champions League qualification, and they also don't care about the Super Cup, which is just fantastic. But we do have Real Sociedad, so I'd like to think that we could get into another final there. If we do look at the La Liga table and pre-season odds, we are now predicted to finish in 3rd. We've really taken that step up. We've overtaken Valencia. We've overtaken Atleti. We are now the best of the rest. Madrid are still odds on to win the title, but this is probably going to be our best shot at them, considering how close it was last year. So let's get to simulating season number 5. Before we get into the season, I just want to thank you guys for being here. If you are still here at this point in the video, and if you are, let me know that you are by commenting down below the word Vamos. And if you are down there, whilst you're there on your way back up, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help out with the old YouTube algorithm. I really appreciate you guys who do stay to this part of the video, because I know they can get quite long, but hopefully you guys enjoy them. And let's start the season 5 recap with Girona by talking about this year's disappointments. It seems like the Copa del Rey isn't the competition for us, as we suffered another embarrassing defeat in the 4th round for a 2nd season in a row, losing to lower league opposition. And for a 2nd season in a row, we failed to live up to the quarter-final heights of Season 3 in the Champions League. We actually went unbeaten in the league phase, which gave me so much hope, even with draws against Manchester City and Arsenal. Those results saw us finish 9th in the table and narrowly miss out on automatic qualification for the round of 16. So we had a playoff fixture, and we were drawn against Real Sociedad, who we actually have a pretty good record against domestically. We won the first leg on the road, as Dario Sugo scoring the all-important goal with a long-range effort. But then in the 2nd leg at home, we collapsed. The game was all square at 1-1 on the night. Then Miguel Gutierrez received his 2nd yellow card of the game just before half-time to see us play the remainder of the game with 10 men. Sociedad were then able to score the extra 2 goals that they needed to take the game into extra time, where our 10 men just couldn't keep up. The visitors added another 2 goals for good measure to see our Champions League campaign come to a very disappointing end. But that's enough doom and gloom. Let's talk about the positive things that happened this year. In the Spanish Super Cup, we got our own back on Sociedad by picking them apart with a nice 2-1 win in the semi-finals to set up a game against, yep, you guessed it, Real Madrid. But this time, we were ready for them. We scored early in the first half through Fabian Kribic and added a second through Artem Dovbyk. Vinny Jr. did then pull a goal back for Madrid with a lovely solo effort, but this time it was our substitutes that made the difference, as Mensah arrived into the penalty area late before guiding a nice finish beyond Thibaut Courtois. So after 2 seasons of being runners-up, we finally won the Spanish Super Cup. Not that the board cared. And in La Liga, we went on one hell of a run to start the campaign, winning our first 13 matches in a row to dominate from the off and take top spot in the league going into the winter break. Now more mature and in his second spell at the club, Artem Dovbyk topped the goal scoring charts, netting 24 in La Liga and really showing how good he is in this year's edition of FM after that boost in January. We also dominated down our left-hand side of the field as both Miguel Gutierrez and Oscar Pereira both contributed 16 assists in all competitions for us this year. We came back after the winter break with a bang by hammering Barcelona 4-0 at home, which sparked yet another amazing run that only saw us lose 1 game in the remainder of the season. And of course, that was at home against Real Madrid, but it finally happened. We won the club's first La Liga title, racking up 98 points in the season, but that only saw us beat Madrid by just 2 points. This young team is on top of the world with amazing facilities and lots of money in the bank balance, and you can carry on this save right here, right now, by going over to my Patreon. Links for that will be in the description, and you can carry on this journey. The save files for every single rebuild that I've ever done are posted over on my Patreon, and if you do like the rebuild content and want to stick around on YouTube, I do appreciate that. Check out this playlist right here. It's all the rebuilds that we've done on this year's game.